Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am AstroZerg from YGG Gaming. Today I have a quite long game for you. So, in this game, you're going to see in the top left corner we have AstroZerg, and in the bottom left or right hand corner we have Milamber. Protoss versus Zerg. So we have the fancy new GLHF coming from Milamber. That Starcraft uploaded, and so here you're going to see a quite long game. We're going to skip to a little bit of it, but you're going to see it's a long game. It's 25 minutes long. But so you're going to see. Okay, so we have a forge first coming from Milamber. So this has to mean some kind of cannon rush for sure. We have the probe sneaking around to go probably to the back here, or even here, just somewhere back here. And this is the most common type of rush that Protoss will do against Zerg. They'll just throw a couple of two cannons in the back, 2 pylons in the back, and completely deny this base, either canceling it or killing it, and leaving these Zerg players to either expand here or not expand at all. So we're going to see, I do scout it, but the other thing is though, Milamber is not keeping up with their macro. They are, for some reason, focused, like, they're throwing down pylons to wall himself off, but still has 300 minerals to have done something. There is nothing going on here. That's the one downside about rushing. Going down here, and then canceling too, just to make sure he was safe to get the cannons down. Does mineral walk and trap, and managed to get down some photon cannons. But if you notice here, this is where a lot of cannon rushers will mess up. So they kind of just go into this mode where they're just like, I gotta achieve, and then it's like, okay, you did it, but now what? I mean, 2.5 minutes into the game, and you're just now getting your second base and a gateway and all that, trying to macro up now that you've finally done something. But that's not very good. The G's, yes, it worked with the rush, but at the same time, the fact that you're not getting anything done while you're cheesing is not a successful strategy. So you can see here, this second is going to go down. The best thing for AstroZerg to have done would have been to cancel this. I don't know why he let this finish. But the best thing to have done was cancel that and put a base over here. Still having a second base. These cannons are out of reach and vision to be able to see anything going there. So that would have been a lot better. Meta boost is being finished. Early Roachhorn to be able to counter these cannons. The macro for Milamber is just, it's awful. I'm not sure entirely. I'm not sure what they're doing or what is going on, but just nothing is happening right now. Meanwhile, if you look at the income, it's still even, as well as the units. It's still the same amount of drones to probes, pretty much. And here comes the Roachhorn, and a few roaches are probably going to be made to be able to take out these cannons. So you can see here the second base is being made at the third expansion, which is a really smart move, instead of just going one base and trying to all in here, because usually when somebody cheeses with their cannon rush out to the natural, they're going to put up wall off and put up another photon cannon. So that was really smart to do that. First base is saturated for both races players, and now starting the macro on the second and trying to build up some units to be able to take out the cannons. Because the other thing is, if you leave those cannons here, if you're a Zerg player and you're like, oh, I didn't leave those there, they're not doing anything, they can and will warp in units here. So that is a really big deal to take these out. Make sure these are gone, because you do not want them there to be able to warp in. You can see here there's the scout. Now it just goes into a basic macro game with the early robo, or not early, but with the robo coming in. So you're going to see here building up of roaches and units to be able to take things out. Just now starting on that. Meanwhile, Chrono Boost is still not done. 6 minutes into the game, we'll eventually finish then. That is really late and not good. So now we have a lot of units out. Technically could go in to do a harass, but with these 2 immortals now, that's not a possibility. Third base is going down. We will get the scout on the Protoss army. It's very small, but 2 immortals can still be quite deadly to this army. With the lings, though, that's a very good strategy to do that as well. So we have a 3rd immortal, and I'm still not making... By now, the Protoss should have another base going. Zerg should technically, with the rate that you can see here, with the amount of army, it is safe to scout, make sure you're not too far behind, and then macro up. But you can see here the macro for Milamber is not as good. I will, in another video, talk about what macro and micro is and what the difference between them is, just so that you can, and a few other words, so you know the terms in Starcraft and in other games as well. But it's really helpful to know, so that when you're watching and when you're playing, you know what you're doing, you know when to change it. So we have 3 immortals here, and not many stalkers or sentries. These Zerglings are going to be able to get an easy surround, but if we get force field... Okay, so not the best force field, but they will do something. We do have another warping of stalkers that is here. This mothership 4 is not going to go down, but is close. The army is getting taken down, although we do have more units being warped in. Wow! Imagine if Zerglings could be. Imagine if Zerglings could be warped in. That'd be quite something. Being morphed in by the Zerg player, and it's not looking very good. Milamber should just be going in, trying to take out this 3rd and some drones, instead trying to wait up and go into the 2nd or main. Okay, here we go. Will he be able to get some damage done? That is the question. This team will go down. The drones are going to be moved, but these Zerglings are going to come around to the back, and the roaches are going to come follow, leaving the drones able to escape safely. One immortal is going to go down. We have a 2nd immortal going down, and we have the recall. That was not... I don't think that was not the best decision. If Milamber had stayed there and been able to get the surround, he had units here and possibly units there. These roaches were all that were left. He still had 1 immortal and about 16 stalkers. That was not a smart move. That would have been so much better if he had just stayed there. So we have a lot of adepts coming out and stalkers, so this is turning into a stalker adept army. Probably more immortals going to be warped in, yes. See here, the macro is just slipping so badly. 8 probes oversaturated here, and just now going for the 3rd base. Will be able to scout. Smart placement by the Overlord of Astrozerg. Will be able to spot it. Warp Prism going out for harass, and now having 2.5 saturated bases over the 1.5 saturated bases for Protoss is going to be quite a difference. The army supply is completely even right now, with the Zerg player in a bit of an advantage. And so now you can see here, I can scout the Warp Prism, expecting it. The question is, if I see it, that's not necessarily for sure. Yes, I do. I'm going to come in and try to counter this. I'm going to be able to pick those up and probably put them into the 1st. Meanwhile, still, I guess macroing up, but you can see the creep spread down this way is very big, but didn't... Astrozerg, like, if you lose your creep queen, make it again. Because without your creep, you really can't see anything and you don't have any vision. Creep is very important in Zerg because it can allow you to scout. Fortunately, Astrozerg is spreading it down 1 of the 3 lanes to be able to see at least if there's something coming from this way, which is very smart. Just now transitioning all the probes that are oversaturated here was supply blocked very shortly. This Warp Prism really needs to be doing something right now. With this Warp Prism sitting there, it's really not being effective, and if it came in to the 3rd base and did some harass, picked up in the 2nd, or main, sorry, it would be a lot better. Both sides just turtling up for now, trying to macro up. But the best thing that should be done is a little bit of harass. If some 20 Ling just went into 3rd base for Milamber, this would just destroy it. Smart cannon placement though. These adepts are going to get taken down, and an infestor is coming out. So we're gonna see most likely some fungal growths on this Stalker army, which is a very smart play. 4th base going down, 800 minerals and 700 gas for the Protoss player. That is really bad. And although on the other hand, 2,000 gas for the Zerg player, granted, I have been macroing up drone-wise, so more minerals being spent than gas. So this is around the moment, or the point in the game where Zerg should be sending Lings to go out, take out the third basis probe, or maybe even the second basis probes, just making sure that the presence is known, keeping Malamber on his toes, distracting him from doing whatever else, because without trying to defend against harass really messes up your macro. So you're not able to focus as much on what you need to be doing. We have +2/+2 for Zerg and +1. That is it. Attack for Malamber. And this attack right here could be very good attack because it will target down the gateways, putting up more photon cannons. In this situation, the best thing for Malamber is to send in the warp prism, scout, as soon as they see this. Okay, so right now, send in the warp prism, which is what they're doing, to send in the zealots. Unfortunately, it does leave their the rest of things to open, but fungal growth is going down. That's a huge fungal growth, and this choke is just that's a really bad choke for Malamber. Not as many units being able to attack, really only half. This fungal growth is immediate. That just took out the entire army, the Stalker army for Malamber. Very good trade. Going to get another sentry, although on the other hand, does get the 4th base of Zerg. In this situation, 14 minutes in, the smart thing to do would be to have 5 bases as a Zerg player. More Archons being morphed in. And so we have 6 Archons, a lot of Immortals. Right now, there should have been a hive transition and all that. I'm not entirely sure why there was no transition, but fungal growths are a good trade in this situation. Fungal growths should be for the later mid game instead of the late game. This army is sort of split in half. The best option would be to make a hive. There's the hive, but there's no spire, and you can't make broodlords without a spire, so you can't transition properly. But I think broodlords would be the best option in this situation. The only reason that Zerg is still in this game is because of the initial early harass that did not finish him off, and the advantage of upgrades. There are no upgrades going right now. Proto boost is being wasted there. No 4th base. Just now getting a 4th base. Unfortunately for Zerg, just out of range from the warp prism right there, and that is very sad that he will not be able to see that. Now Dark Templar being warped in and denying the 4th here. These Dark Templar will do a lot of damage as long as Zerg does something about it. Morphing in an Overseer is good. Unfortunately, Malamber is really slipping on his macro. He has 2 bases going for him, actually 1.5 bases going for him. On the other hand, Zerg does have 2 bases going for him technically at the moment, but does have bases, unlike Malamber, who doesn't have any new bases yet to be able to do anything. These DTs will try, but the only thing Malamber will accomplish is killing the infestation bit and a good amount of army. Meanwhile, we have an attack down here. Really smart. There are not enough zealots here. There we go. There's some more zealots, but this is really not looking good for Malamber. Without the upgrades, this is really looking somber for Malamber. If these Immortals were like +2/+2, or even by now 3/3/3, is the best possible thing. But these Immortals just getting destroyed. This is really bad. But also managing to take out this hive is a huge deal. Unfortunately, the Ultralisk Cavern is built. Chitinous Plating is not being researched yet, but really at this point, it's looking very. It's a pretty even game still. Supply is pretty much completely even. The macro on both sides is not the best. Both sides have like no production at right now. 2 bases of production for each race, and that is it. In fact, Zerg has less production, if anything, but I don't know. It's just interesting. Just now getting the creep spread going back again. Still not the best. If you're gonna go ultras, because okay, so I like the ultra play, and the reason why I say that is usually ultralisks are not they're frowned upon in a Zella Archon Immortal against that, but since Melamber is not making any Immortals because he does not have the economy to do so, this is going to be very good for him. Very good for the Zerg player, because Archons are not good against Ultralisks. So, with all these Zealots, they're going to get shredded. All these Archons, they're going to get shredded. There are no Immortals being made or in production. He has not enough economy to be able to make the Immortals he needs to counter Ultras. The Ultralisks, he should have transitioned into Ultralisks about 5 minutes ago, if anything, after taking out that huge amount of Immortals. Because this is a really bad army composition. He's forgetting the most important thing, just now starting to make them after like 6 minutes. Starting to push up here with the Archons. It's going to be close. We do have one Ultralisk in the making. We have a 6th base going down, or sorry. Yes, a 6th base going down for Astrozerg. Still hasn't made a hatchery here to keep these buildings alive. At this moment, it really doesn't matter. This is looking to be the end with the way that this is going. Chitinous plating is being researched, and Ultralisk being made, as well as really only one base. Like, this is the 5th base from Melamber, not even taking it over here, taking it over here, closer to the Zerg player, which is not a smart move. 20 supply difference, but only one Immortal is really not a good time. Yes, this is a lot of Archons, 9 Archons, but Archons do splash damage, and against Ultralisks, they're not effective at all. And so this is looking to be game. And with this choke, Ultralisks are not in the back, in the front, but they now are, and they're just going to shred through the Archons and one Immortal. And this is game. There's no way Melamber can come back with the no production. Actually, he has nothing. This is the only base he has for him. These are doing nothing. He's probably going to try to build another base here, but it is too late, and that is game. We have two DTs trying to do some damage, but it's 5 Ultralisks and all these rotating dragons. There's nothing you can do. More links coming in to swarm over here, and this is game. It was I wouldn't say it's a good game, because of the fact that both players were slipping on macro, and there was nothing going on. If either players had been, Melamber did harass a few times, but if the Zerg player had harassed a little bit more, that would have definitely put him in the lead. I think the only reason he actually won this with the Roach Ravager combo was because of the lack of upgrades. Melamber just did not make upgrades, whether he forgot or he just never does. The fact is, regardless, he didn't have enough upgrades. This is Astrozerg from YGG Gaming. If you like this video or videos of this kind, let me know in the comments below. And like, comment, subscribe. If you don't like it, dislike it. I just want to know how you guys feel about it. This is Astrozerg. See you next time.